Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and I am doing a quick little newsy news for you since I will be at the dentist, the place where I live now, apparently. uh, any hoozle, Fry is in his den worrying the cat, so he is not on screen right now. But our first story is embattled Penn State professor engaged in lewd acts with a tree branch and Tootsie Pop in a public park. Now, the fact that I just gave my 2 youngest Tootsie Pops to take to school makes me cringe so hard. An award-winning professor at Penn State University already accused of performing acts of a gross nature on his pet dog in a public park is facing additional charges for allegedly engaging. I What in the actual what? Uh, uh,
Let's not all panic at once.
okay, let's not all panic at once, but apparently he was charged for another spate of lewd, gross acts at a Pennsylvania park, including, um, self-contained love of a handular nature in various locations and rubbing his bits and pieces, his twig and berries, on handrails and pavilions. Themis Matasukas, a professor of chemical engineering, has been charged with additional criminal counts of indecent exposure, burglary of an overnight accommodation, criminal trespassing, and disorderly conduct, court records reviewed by Law and Crime show. Those allegations came in addition to the charges filed against Mastukas last June, which included one count each of intercourse with an animal, cruelty to animal, indecent exposure, okay, sir, I have a wonderful one-way ticket for you. What the hell are you doing to that beagle? I don't know if it was a beagle, but y'all. The new charges are a result of investigators poring over hours of videos from numerous electronic devices seized by authorities following Matasukas's uh, initial arrest, which allegedly showed him performing a series of obscene acts in Allen Seeger State Park, according to a copy of the criminal complaint obtained by Johnson NBC affiliate or Johnstown affiliate WJAC. The videos reportedly showed this dude wearing a black ski mask and nothing else. Look, what had happened was his wife was just tired of doing laundry. Uh, where he stood atop a pavilion in the park and engaged in an act with a tree branch. Another video reportedly showing him engaging in similar act with a Tootsie Pop before self-love, a little hand hug, if you will, in a public pond. The investigators obtained additional video footage from trail cameras throughout the park, some of which reportedly showed this dude, Grossy McGrocerton, engaging in acts while inside of equipment, belonging to Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Look, we are gonna need to Lysol all the canoes and all of the things. This is terrible. Uh, there's another video that also shows him on top of a picnic table performing a act involving poo and flowers. Look, move over, Vince McMahon. This dude is worse than you, and you can't fix this, y'all. You can't fix this kinda weird. Following his initial arrest last year, Penn State spokesperson told Law and Crime that he has been relieved of his responsibilities and is on leave. As previously reported by Law and Crimes, allegations in the case stemmed from a trail camera being put up in Allen Seeger Park in April 2023 in response to bags of hand sanitizer being stolen from public bathrooms. It didn't take long for the camera to allegedly capture shocking footage of Matasukas, the 2017 recipient of the Premier Teaching Award from Penn State Engineering Alumni Society. The camera allegedly captured this dude, this Professor Grossness, at 8 p.m. on April 13th, walking around with his pet collie, wearing nothing but a ski mask, a North Face backpack, boots, and a wristwatch. He can allegedly be seen giving himself a hand hug in an area near the women's public restroom before engaging in an act with a dog. Ugh, I'm going to need to bleach my brain now. This is so gross. Investigators allegedly obtained a total of 6 images dating back to 2014 showing this dude walking around the area just bait and tackle all out. Investigators issued a search warrant on this professor's house where the rangers said he appeared nervous when they informed the professor that they were specifically looking for a silver iPad that he believed to have been used to record unlawful acts with the dog. He started to panic. Quote, "I'm done. I'm dead. You don't understand. I do it to blow off steam." No, people drink. People smoke. People curse like freaking sailors. These are some of the vices that, while we don't think they're all that great, we have societally allowed certain release valves of our, stress. Not the greatest, not great adaptive behaviors, but public hand hugs of yourself and messing with your dog, that's a hard no. You are going straight to Rikers Island and then Snake Island if I were the judge. Because, of course, The Love Boat, how a TV show transformed the cruise industry. Just for Valentine's Day. From steam-powered ships to megaliners, the cruise industry has been through quite a transformation over the years, and the market has skyrocketed. Back in 1970, it was estimated that 500,000 people went on a cruise holiday. That figure has jumped or had jumped to 5 million by 1997. So, what brought about this sudden surge in interest? According to industry experts, it was mainly down to a certain TV show with a catchy theme tune. Come aboard, we're expecting you. Produced by TV legend Aaron Spelling, The Love Boat first aired in 1977 and went on to become one of the most successful shows in TV history during its decades-long run. The program, which is still available on streaming services such as Paramount Plus, partnered with Princess Cruises, and episodes were filmed aboard various Princess cruise ships, the Pacific Princess and Island Princess being the most noticeable and notable. Based on a nonfiction book written by a former cruise director, Geraldine Saunders, The Love Boat centered around ship captain Merrill Stubbing, played by Gavin McLeod, and his onboard crew, with different guest actors playing passengers each episode. The show, which spawned several spin-offs, has since been described as the greatest product placement ever, serving as a complete introduction to cruising for many of its avid viewers. Quote, "The Love Boat really created the cruise industry." Michael L. Grace, who worked as a scriptwriter on the program during the 1980s, told CNN Travel in 2022, "Because you had 50 million people watching and they all wanted to go on a cruise. Several modern cruise lines existed when the show began, including Princess, founded in 1965, with a single cruise ship around Mexico. Royal Caribbean had launched in 1968, and Carnival Cruise was founded in 1972. But the cruising demographic was way different to what it is now. Although cruise companies are apparently keen to attract younger passengers, many people still don't know much about cruising, and those who did had a very specific idea of it. Back in the day, people would say cruising is just for the nearly dead or newlywed. said cruise journalist Carolyn Spencer Brown, chief content officer for Cruise Media LLC. So when the Love Boat came on and showed people of all ages and races having fun, being lively on a cruise ship, it opened the world of cruising to people who didn't really know it existed. Each week, tens of millions of people around the world would tune in to follow the exploits of Captain Stubbing, Dr. Adam Bricker, Bernie Kopel, cruise director Julie McCoy, Lauren Trues, bartender Isaac Washington, Ted Lang, and the captain's daughter, Vicky, played by Jill Whelan. And suddenly going on a cruise scored to the top of many's wish list. Passengers would come on the ship, Grace says of the formula for an hour-long show. They'd have a problem, then the problem is solved, and they all come together again. The episodes were like small movies. Cruise building boom. The launch of the Love Boat came at a time when the vast majority of cruise ships on the water were former liners that had been converted. There were few new ships in the service. However, that quickly changed when demand shot up thanks to the success of the show. The show did so well that Princess Cruises were selling out of their ships. Cruise historian Peter Cano, look, that is as safe as I'm going to make that last name, tells CNN Travel. And what that led to the first boom of new cruise ships being built in the early 1980s. The fact that scenes from the Love Boat were occasionally filmed aboard live cruises, with passengers sometimes serving as extra, only added to the appeal. So many cruise lines want to create experiences for you that you probably couldn't create your own, noted Spencer Brown. Becoming an extra on a popular TV show, quote, certainly qualifies as something that doesn't happen to most people. Keen to strike while the iron was hot, existing cruise line began to build up brand new purpose-built cruise ships in order to cater to this fast-growing market, while new companies emerged like Celebrity Cruises, founded in 1988. Back then, to build new cruise ships, that was a big deal, says the expert on cruising with the trick last name that will get me in trouble. During the 1980s, almost 40 new cruise ships were constructed, including the Tropical from the Carnival Cruise Line and Royal Princess, the Princess Cruises' first purpose-built cruise ship. Royal Princess had new features like balconies, which were pretty rare with mainstream cruising. As more cruises emerged and began competing with each other, cruising became more affordable, expanding the market even further. Well, there you go. The Love Boat may have also played a part in the heavy entertainment focus we see on modern day cruise ships. Outlandish musical performances were often featured on the Love Boat, and they proved to be a big hit with viewers. During one of the show's specials, known as the Love Boat Follies, iconic stage and screen stars such as Della Reese, Ethel Merman, Carol Channing, and Ann Miller sang a rendition of I'm the Greatest Star from 1968 musical Funny Girl together. It was very spectacular, said Grace, who was working on a book about the impact of the Love Boat. And what was so strange is when they would flash back to the people watching in the audience, it was like a small little club, but the stage was the side of a West End theater. Off screen, the Island Princess and its sister ship, Pacific Princess, two of the ships primarily used for filming during the start of the series, held main stage production shows that became hugely popular with cruising fans. This led to the introduction to some brand new features in cruise ships in the later years. Princess and other liners went on to build ships with state-of-the-art showrooms with huge stages, sound, lighting effects that are now standard on modern cruise ships. Adding that the modern atrium seen on the cruise ships today can be tracked back to the Love Boat. Well, there you go. Oh, and it's so romantic, and oh my gosh, the haircuts. Well, that is one way to do a bowl cut. Romance was understandably a very important factor in The Love Boat. While relationship plots certainly kept viewers entertained, Spencer Brown stretches the focus was also beneficial when it came to maintaining the notion that cruises are really quite romantic. For a long time, Princess had all sorts of enhanced amenities that were pointed to romance. They embraced this concept all the way through. You could have a balcony, sunset dinners, rose petals strewn on your bed, all of these lovely romantic things. Longtime cruise enthusiast Judy Patterson, who met her husband Andy when he was working on another cruise ship, Princess or P&O's SS Orana, was a fan of the Love Boat, but said her own cruising experiences were very different to what was portrayed on screen. The show bears no resemblance to reality, says Patterson, but it was fun. I don't know if people actually believe that that's what happens on cruise ship. It's fun to think and watch that these things might actually happen. The Love Boat reruns were still airing around the world years after its last episode, and the show's fan base has remained incredibly loyal. So there you go. What is next? Okay, so this was scary, and I'm glad that it seems like she's okay, but I have no idea what happened here. Disney on Ice performer Anastasia Olsen recovered after horrific fall during Beauty and the Beast show. Now, if you don't have kids and don't know what this is, Disney on Ice is where good skaters who can stay up on ice stay they dress up like cartoon characters and they play a bunch of Disney music, and it's it's all the things. An ice skater who was left in critical condition after she fell mid-performance during a Disney on Ice show in Minnesota is recovering at a Minneapolis hospital on Monday, a report said. Anastasia Olsen, 31, took a spill when another performer dropped her during a mishap while she was portraying Belle from Beauty and the Beast at Target Center. Olsen's condition was updated from critical to serious on Monday, so that's good that she's improving. But I mean, kudos to, I guess, from what I've read, and I did read this article first just to make sure she didn't, like, pass away or anything, because it is Valentine's Day. Uh, and that there was nothing seriously, wrong. More information about her recovery was not immediately available. One local mom, identified by the station as Becca, said Belle appeared to be, quote, unquote, "shaky" before she fell during the lift, and she did alongside an actor portraying the Beast. They were doing a lift, and she appeared shaky and fell, the mother said, adding that the injury took place about 40 minutes into the 11 a.m. show. "I'm beyond grateful for the remaining staff and performers who kept going because that preserves the magic for the kids. I know that had to have been very difficult," she added. So, kudos on the rest of the people for, trying to keep the kids from getting too Twitter-pated and letting them work on this skater. Horrifying video footage of the incident shared to X, which I will not show, may appears to show the actor portraying Belle having a seizure while on the ice. I'm not going to show that. No one likes their medical stuff plastered all over. As an actor playing Beast hovers over her and medics rush to her side, Disney on Ice said it, quotes, "appreciates the well wishes from our fans as our team member recovers. Performances at the downtown Minneapolis area continued as scheduled after the fall." So I'm glad that she's doing better. I hope they come and figure out the root causes so she doesn't get hurt anymore. And I'm glad that, for the most part, they were able to keep this from affecting the kids too much, because I can only imagine how scary that would be as a little kid to see that. So I do hope she's doing better and all that jazz. Uh, Stop remaking movies. You have been warned, Hollywood. We don't want to see this. Will Helen Hunt appear in the new Twisters movie? Her sequel idea got rejected for a quote unquote shady reason. One question that was whirling in the minds of moving fans during the 2024 Super Bowl on Sunday night: where's Helen? After watching the new movie trailer for the movie Twisters, a follow-up to the 1996 disaster flick Twister that hits theaters on July 19th, social media alighted with viewers praying for a cameo from original star Helen Hunt. "I hope Helen Hunt makes a cameo in the new Twisters movie," said user I'm Every Woman on X. Uh, Another user wanted a glimpse of the actress too. "I kept waiting for Helen Hunt to show up, drop a pun, then fire Dorothy sensors into the twister with a modified long force multiplier," they wrote. "No such luck. So will Helen make an appearance in the movie 28 years later after she first chased tornadoes?" A Universal source told the Post that the 60-year-old actress is not returning for Twisters. Yeah, probably because it's going to be utter crap. The new film is instead led by Glenn Powell, Top Gun Maverick, as Tyler Owens, Daisy Edgar Jones, where the Crawdads sing as Katie Cooper, and Anthony Ramos in the Heights as Javi. The other roles are filled by Mara Tierney, or Moira Tierney, from ER, Kiernan Shipka, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and David Cornsweet, DC's new Clark Kent Superman in the upcoming Superman Legacy. An absent Hunt would gel with what Powell told Vogue in December, that Twisters is neither a reboot or a sequel. "It's definitely not a reboot," the 35-year-old actor said. "We're not trying to recreate the story from the first one. It's a completely original story." I will believe it when I see it, Hollywood. Powell added, "There are no characters from the original movie back, so it's not really a continuation. It's just its own standalone story in the modern day." Oh, well, I'm sure they'll stop the tornado by telling them patriarchy is wrong. 20 Back in 2022, Deadline reported that the working story was about Joe Hunt and Bill Paxton's daughter following in her parents' footstep. That possibility has not been dismissed. In the nearly 30 years since the original film spun into theaters, some of the original cast members have passed away. Hunt's co-star Bill Paxton, gone too soon, gone too soon, who also appeared in such films as Aliens, Titanic, and Apollo 13, passed away in 2017 at the age of 61. Another star, Oscar winner Philip Seymour Hoffman, died in 2014 at the age of 46. But all audiences still want Hunt, especially as the actress said she had pitched a sequel concept 4 years ago. Her idea was rejected. Okay, let's see what she pitched. "I tried to get it made," Hunt said on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in 2021, "with Daveed Diggs and Rafael Calça and me writing it, and all black and brown storm chasers. They wouldn't do it. I was going to direct it. We could barely get a meeting." And this was in June of 2020 when it was all about diversity. It would have been so cool. No, how about you make a good story and you put the best actor in there? But no, that's impossible because you're from Hollyweird. Diggs 42 told Insider in 2023 that the circumstances behind Hunt's concept not going forward were quote unquote shady. "All I'll say is there was an opportunity where we were talking about it and it didn't happen," the Hamilton star said. "And the reasons that it didn't happen are potentially shady, but shady in a way that we know the industry is shady." You guys are involved in Hollyweird. Don't get to talk to me about moral high grounds, okay? Uh, you know, Having no respect for Valentine's Day, Southwest passengers brawl on a Hawaii bound flight as crew, others try to break them up. No sense whatsoever. Trouble nearly in paradise. Two passengers came to blows about an hour after takeoff on a Hawaii bound flight and forced other passengers and crew members to break up the midair flight, a distressing video shows. The chaos broke out on Southwest airline flights 1288 from Oakland to Linhu Airport on the island of Kauai on Monday, airline officials told Hawaii News Now. Quote, I heard yelling, screaming, and punches. I turned around and saw one man bleeding and the other one being separated, passenger Jim Winder told the outlet. In the video of the midair exchange, one man dressed in a gray hoodie and baseball cap is seen inching closer to another man wearing a gray pullover before the confrontation turns ugly. The man in the baseball cap is slapped in the arm by the man in the pullover as he approaches him from the side. While Southwest airline crew members follow, the passengers are already physically separating them. The man in the baseball cap unleashes a series of punches, landing about 7 in the other man's face before other male passengers were able to pull him away. Though restrained, he continued to shout at the man as the men held him back, attempting desperately to calm him down. I cannot show the video because, YouTube is all about no showing violence, but, World Star America is still a channel, so if we wanna talk about maybe unfair policies being shown and used against people, you know, unbalanced wise. Frankly, I was a little nervous because we're at 35,000 feet and you've got two guys swinging at each other, which makes no sense whatsoever. The fight happened between two male passengers about an hour into the flight, another witness shared. It's unclear what ignited the fight between the two passengers. The plane did not turn around and continued to fly to Kauai, one witness told the outlet. We commended our crew and customers for their professionalism in diffusing the situation, Southwest officials said in a statement to Hawaii News Now. The flight landed safely at its scheduled destination. Local authorities met the flight upon arrival. Both men were detained after the flight landed. It's unknown if any charges have been pressed against either man. Quote, our department has zero tolerance for violent or unruly behavior aboard an aircraft. If you act out on an airplane, you can face criminal prosecution and fines up to $37,000, the U.S. Department of Transportation posted on X. The scuffle between the men shocked some of the Hawaii-based flight attendants who spoke with Hawaii News Now. I've been flying for 45 years and no, it's not like this, a flight attendant told the outlet. Probably the worst thing that happened a couple years ago was a passenger taking a couple peanuts. A nonstop flight from Oakland International Airport to Lanai Airport is about 5.5 hours. The in-air melee was just the newest startling altercation to happen in the skies. Only 2 weeks ago, a JetBlue passenger had to be restrained by 4 fellow travelers after becoming abusive toward the cabin crew. Every airline is becoming Spirit Airline. God help us all. The flight had taken off from London's Gatwick Airport and was heading to New York's John F. Kennedy Airport when the aggressive man was caught on video struggling against 4 other men who were trying to hold him still in a darkened cabin aisle. The passenger was allegedly inebriated when he began to become unruly midair. Similarly, an American's airline flight last month had to be diverted after a passenger allegedly punched a flight attendant who asked him to stop kicking a fellow flyer's seat. Okay, kidults, and kidult is a word that I have invented that means you may have the body of an adult, but you are acting like a toddler. If you cannot deal with your emotions and keep your hands to yourself, then do not get into a small enclosed place with the rest of us who have to pay a shit ton of money to go fly somewhere. A fellow passenger on that flight from Texas to Montana said the man was spitting at people, adding that she saw him banging his head against the window. He worried the crew enough that the pilot declared a level 2 threat at about 1:50 p.m. and diverted to Texas's Rick Husband Amarillo International Airport. Kenneth Edward Fagina of Las Vegas was met with local law enforcement and charged with interference upon a flight crew. Interesting. In cute news, a Michigan man finds a 70-year-old love letter in a secondhand toolbox. A Michigan man is trying to solve the mystery of a 70-year-old love letter he found in a toolbox he purchased from a farm auction. Rick Trojanowski of Grand Rapids said he bought the toolbox at a farm auction in 2017, but it wasn't until years later he found an old letter stashed away in a drawer. The letter was authored 70 years ago by Army Corporal Irving G. Fleming and was sent to San Francisco to a Mary Lee Cribbs in Grand Rapids, or was sent from San Francisco to Mary Lee Cribbs in Grand Rapids. The letter featured Fleming apologizing to Cribbs for a disagreement they had, professing his undying love and intention to marry her when he returns from the Army. It's almost like a true love story. People don't just write things like that nowadays. It's almost like poetry, Trojanowski told WXMI TV. Tronowski is now trying to find surviving relatives of the couple so he can give them the letter. I really don't have any use for it, and if we find the people it belongs to, the kids, I think it'd be really neat for them, he said. A Minneapolis couple recently detailed their own similar incident, finding a pair of love notes inside a wall of their bedroom during a remodeling project. Matt and Carrie Tesmere said both letters were simply signed John B. and appeared to be written from a teenager to two separate objects of his affection. Well, when you're a teen, I guess, it will be okay. I cannot do the nudist one here. In our final story, this boss gets no Valentine's Day hearts and may end up with a glitter letter if he doesn't quit. Employee offers perfect response after boss tries to cancel annual leave in appalling text. An Aussie has quit his job after receiving a quote unquote appalling text message from his boss trying to cancel his upcoming family vacation. The wild text exchange is shared by Michael Sands, a business owner outsourcing expert who often has workers sharing their bad boss experience with him. Mr. Sands shared the conversation between the worker, Noel, and his boss, Nick, to TikTok, telling his followers, "You are not going to believe this message I just got sent." Sands uh, reveals to news.com AU that it was actually the boss who sent him the exchange like a badge of honor because he believed he was in the right. He informed staff member Noel before making the TikTok and ensured the worker was fine with the text being shared. The first message from the boss, who informs Noel that another staff member, Jenny, has resigned, and therefore Noel's time off of work scheduled for the following week has been canceled, with the boss claiming it would be all hands on deck while they try to find a replacement. "We can push back a few months. I've advised HR it's now changed for you. Appreciate your understanding. Hey, Nick, actually don't want to come back to work right now. I'm quite shocked at this email. I'm going to take my leave earlier and we'll start from today. While I think about if working with a company that doesn't promote boundaries is a place I really want to work at, I'm also sending this email to Aaron and HR as it is totally unreasonable." As he reads out the messages in the video, Mr. Sanchez says what everyone was thinking at this point. This guy sounds like a real tool. He's automatically canceling leave without any conversation. Noel then texted back saying he appreciates how quote unquote frustrating this situation would be for the company, but he can't cancel his leave as he has his brother's wedding in Bali. "All flights are paid for and my kids are in the wedding party," he wrote. "I did book this in 7 months ago, so canceling isn't an option. I can help out until I leave if that helps, but I can't change my leave dates." Nick, the boss, then asked the worker to reduce his leave from 3 weeks to 3 days, having the audacity to add, "Not sure what you can do for 3 weeks in Bali, ha ha." Mr. Sands questioned why a boss would be acting like it's a joke, noting he would be furious at this point. And yes, I would be, because if I've already put out all the money, my kids are in this, and you are telling me the week before, I don't do well with no planning. I can't imagine why Jenny resigned. Noel replied saying he feels terrible that the company is in this position, but reiterated that he couldn't cancel or amend his trip. It's a family trip. We haven't been together in years. I haven't had annual leave in 3 years. It's also no one's business how I spend my leave, he said, suggesting they get some temp workers to cover until they can find a permanent replacement. He then said he would help out with extra work until he leaves. The next reply from his boss was branded appalling by Sands, with the text reading, "Mate, I can't stress enough. Your leave is just canceled. We just can't do it. I'm sorry." This appeared to be the last straw for Noel, a worker claiming he no longer wishes to come back to the office and has been left shocked by the exchange. He informed Nick that he would be moving his leave to start from today, and during his time off, he would consider whether, quote, "a company that doesn't promote boundaries is a place I want to work at." Noel added he would be sending this totally unreasonable exchange to HR. Sands praised Noel for handling the situation the way he did without the double deuces. Look, the amount of eggplant, cursy face, middle finger emojis I would be sending along with a laughing emoji saying no worker should have to justify taking their annual leave. His holiday should go ahead. The running of the business should be left to business owners. They should get a temp in there or hire a virtual assistant, he said. Since being posted, the video has gained more than 667 views and hundreds of comments with people left stunned by the boss's request. "Oh, hell no. He handled that well. Not his problem," one person wrote. "Business owner here. Unacceptable by the boss. Not the employee's problem. Enjoy Bali," another one said. One claimed they would have quit after the first text. After the video went viral, Noel reached out to Sands to thank him and his fellow viewers for their support and to provide an update to the situation. He said he went to the wedding in Bali, turned off his phone for 3 weeks, and had a great time with his family. Shockingly, his wife received a number of missed calls from the office, presumably because they couldn't reach him. "I came back to work after my leave and management were all a bit distant. I decided on my break to find another job, but didn't want to let my clients down," Knowles said. "So I came back, gave notice, made sure my clients were up to date, and found a new job with higher pay." Speaking to News.com AU, Sands revealed that after posting the video, he received dozens of messages from people across Australia, UK, New Zealand, and US who have had similar experiences. In situations where there's a more relaxed relationship between employees and employers, Mr. Sands often finds that one party will lean on this and overstep work boundaries. Whilst people can be familiar during work, often when leadership tries to infringe on personal time and space, we can see staff fight back. Yes, we can. They are only prepaid to perform certain duties and more often feel undervalued and underpaid. He said workers who find themselves in a similar situation need to make their work boundaries clear. Staff needs to stay firm and make plans with confidence and always include HR in the conversation, he said. Companies need to provide better education to management and staff around work leave so there is no level of guilt they can put on leave takers. I am guessing that this guy is not gonna get a lot of candy hearts this Valentine's Day. He's probably gonna get some, well, I mean, if you go Billy Madison on it, he's probably gonna get some flaming dog poo on his front door, but I don't know if you do that in Australia being a semi-real country, allegedly. Anywho, that is the news, guys. I hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you probably later on tonight. I am going to be on with Sal, and I think that the texts in the Daddy Dom case are supposed to be getting all the smexy and cringe hilarious because the obvious discomfort of both of these two people reading these horrifying texts is just glorious, and I love it. I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye, guys. Oh, no, not that one. Dang it all to heck.